My beloved child. Silence has been filling the spaces where warmth once lived, and the air around you carries emotions that were never spoken aloud. There is a heaviness you feel but have not fully faced, and tonight that weight is being revealed gently, slowly, and with purpose. This message unfolds not to accuse, but to awaken what love has been patiently waiting to restore. There are moments when stillness speaks louder than conflict, and this is one of those moments unfolding now. What has gone unspoken has not gone unnoticed, and every quiet sigh has been counted with care. This message arrives at the exact moment your heart is ready to listen deeper than before. A shift begins here, not through force, but through awareness that opens doors long closed. Something sacred is stirring beneath the surface, and it asks for your attention with tenderness. Stay present, because what is revealed next carries the power to heal what has been silently aching. Amen. To get blessing 111. My beloved child. Your life partner has carried emotions carefully, choosing peace over expression, hoping understanding would come without explanation. Their silence was never absence of feeling, but an act of endurance shaped by love. What they withheld was not truth, but pain they feared would distance you. Every day they stood beside you while holding pieces of themselves together, believing patience would eventually be rewarded. They listened when you spoke, even when their own voice trembled inside. This quiet sacrifice was an offering of devotion, not weakness. You may not have seen the weight they carried, but it has been present in the smallest gestures and longest pauses. Love does not always shout, sometimes it waits, and sometimes it suffers quietly. This message shines light on what has been hidden so healing may finally begin. Amen. To get blessing 222. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says, strength is not proven by silence alone, but by the courage to meet truth with compassion. You are being guided to see what has been overlooked, not to feel guilt, but to gain clarity. Awareness now becomes the bridge that reconnects two hearts drifting apart. Your partner never wished to burden you, so they carried their concerns alone, trusting you would eventually notice. Their silence was built on hope, not resentment, and hope still remains. This is the moment where listening becomes an act of love more powerful than words. Protection surrounds this connection, even now, because what is real is worth saving. Divine guidance steps in when human understanding pauses, and that is what is happening here. Let your heart soften, because truth spoken with care brings restoration. Amen. To get blessing 333. There were times your attention drifted elsewhere, not out of malice, but distraction shaped by routine. In those moments, your partner waited patiently, believing presence would return naturally. What they needed was not perfection, but reassurance they still mattered deeply. Their quiet endurance was fueled by love that chose commitment over confrontation. They believed that holding space was better than causing discomfort. Yet even the strongest hearts need acknowledgement to continue giving fully. My beloved child. This message arrives to remind you that love flourishes when seen and affirmed. The unseen parts of a relationship eventually ask to be noticed. Write to comment if this resonates, because recognition is the first step toward renewal. Amen. To get blessing 444. The distance you may have sensed was never intentional separation, but emotional exhaustion settling gently over time. Your partner has been fighting a private battle to remain hopeful while feeling unseen. That struggle does not seek blame, only understanding. There is still warmth beneath the quiet, still devotion beneath the fatigue. What has been strained can be restored through presence and sincerity. The moment you choose awareness, healing begins immediately. Divine timing has brought this message forward now because readiness has arrived. You are capable of repairing what silence has worn down. Stay with this message, because more is being revealed gently and purposefully. Amen. To get blessing 555. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says, love is protected when humility leads the way. You are not being shown this truth to feel small, but to grow stronger through compassion. Strength rooted in empathy transforms relationships at their core. My beloved child. Your partner's silence was an act of faith in your bond. They trusted love would mature into deeper understanding. That faith has not been misplaced, because awareness now steps forward. Allow yourself to receive this message fully. It carries no condemnation, only opportunity. Write to comment if your heart feels stirred, because engagement seals intention. Amen. To get blessing 666. There is still much more to unfold in this message, including healing energy, restoration, and renewed unity. The quiet your partner lives in has been shaped by countless moments where they chose understanding over expression. They learned to measure their words, not because they lacked truth, but because they valued harmony more than being heard. Each time they remained silent, it was an act of love refined through patience. What they carried was not small, yet they never asked you to lift it. They believed love meant enduring, believing, staying. Over time, that endurance turned into a quiet heaviness resting on their spirit, unseen but deeply felt. This message comes now to gently reveal that weight so it no longer has to be carried alone. Awareness becomes the release they have waited for. Nothing here is meant to wound, only to open a door that has been closed too long. Amen. To get blessing 777. There were nights when your partner lay awake beside you, thoughts moving louder than their voice ever could. They replayed moments, searching for signs that their presence still mattered as deeply as before. Even then, they chose silence, hoping love would speak for itself. Their heart never stopped reaching for you, even when their words fell quiet. They believed closeness would return naturally, without explanation. That belief was built on trust, not fear. Now that trust is being honored through this message. What was unspoken is finally being acknowledged. This is not an ending, but a return to connection. Amen. To get blessing 888. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says, emotional distance often grows when love assumes instead of listens. You are being guided to pause and truly see what has been standing beside you all along. Presence now becomes an act of protection for the bond you share. Your partner did not want to demand attention, only to feel valued without asking. Their silence was shaped by hope that understanding would come effortlessly. Hope has not faded, but it has grown tired. This moment invites you to meet that hope with intention. Listening now restores what patience has preserved. Divine support surrounds this awakening. Amen. To get blessing 999. Small moments that passed unnoticed accumulated quietly within your partner's heart. A missed gesture here, an unreturned glance there, each adding to a growing sense of invisibility. None of these moments were dramatic, but together they formed a quiet ache. They never kept score, never measured effort, only waited. Love made them generous, but even generosity needs care. This message illuminates those overlooked spaces with compassion, not regret. What you do with this awareness determines what grows next. Attention given now carries powerful healing. Write to comment if this realization feels real within you. Amen. To get blessing 12:12. There is no anger carried here, only longing for closeness. Your partner has remained loyal not just in action, but in spirit, even while feeling unseen. Their commitment has been steady, even when their heart felt heavy. They believed love would eventually circle back to warmth. That belief is now being met by divine timing. Nothing has been lost beyond repair. Allow tenderness to lead you forward. This message is not about past mistakes, but present choices. Stay open as the unfolding continues. Amen. To get blessing 13:13. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says, compassion transforms awareness into action. What you see now must be met with sincerity, not defense. Love deepens when humility opens space for healing. Your partner's silence was never rejection, but self-protection shaped by love. They did not want to risk pushing you away by speaking too much. That restraint came from devotion, not distance. You are now being trusted with this truth. Receive it gently. There is more guidance ahead, and it arrives with peace. Amen. To get blessing 14:14. At times, your partner wondered if their quiet presence had become too familiar to be noticed. Routine settled in where appreciation once flowed freely. Still, they stayed, believing constancy was love's language. They continued to support you, celebrate you, and stand beside you, even while their own needs went unspoken. This quiet strength has been extraordinary. It deserves recognition. This message invites you to restore balance gently. What is seen can now be nurtured again. Stay present, because the restoration continues. Amen. To get blessing 15:15. And now, before we move deeper, remember this moment of connection. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. This reminder is placed here not as interruption, but as acknowledgement of shared energy and intention. Support flows where understanding grows. Gratitude amplifies healing. We continue forward with clarity and care. The next part will reveal how reconnection unfolds and how silence transforms into shared strength. Amen. To get blessing 16:16. As awareness settles into your heart, something subtle yet powerful begins to change. The silence that once felt heavy starts to loosen its grip, no longer pressing inward with quiet strain. What was hidden is now gently acknowledged, and that acknowledgement alone brings relief. Your partner feels the shift before words are spoken, sensing a new openness in the space between you. Energy changes when intention becomes sincere, and sincerity is now present. This moment marks the beginning of emotional breathing room. Nothing dramatic needs to happen for healing to begin. Sometimes healing starts with presence, with stillness that finally feels shared. This is where reconnection quietly takes root. Amen to Get Blessing 1717. Your partner has long adapted to carrying their emotions internally, shaping resilience from necessity. They became strong in ways that were never meant to be permanent. Strength was chosen because love mattered more than comfort. Now that strength is allowed to rest. The need to endure alone slowly fades as understanding approaches. This transition brings both relief and vulnerability. They may not yet speak everything they feel, but their heart senses safety returning. Safety is the soil where honesty eventually grows. What is unfolding now is gentle, intentional, and protected. Amen to Get Blessing 1818. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says, restoration does not rush, it unfolds in alignment. You are being guided to move with patience, allowing trust to rebuild naturally. What was preserved through silence can now be renewed through care. Your awareness becomes a shield, guarding the connection from further distance. Small acts of presence now hold great power. Listening, noticing, staying present all become sacred gestures. Divine support surrounds this process, ensuring that nothing revealed overwhelms either heart. This is a season of steady healing, not sudden demands. Remain grounded as the bond strengthens. Amen to Get Blessing 1919. Your partner begins to feel seen in ways they quietly longed for. Not through grand declarations, but through subtle recognition that their presence matters. These moments bring warmth back into spaces that felt emotionally cool. They notice when you pause to engage, when attention feels intentional again. These changes may seem small, but they resonate deeply within them. Love is often restored through consistency, not intensity. This is how trust starts to stretch and breathe again. What was compressed by silence now expands through care. Write to comment if this progression feels meaningful to you. Amen to Get Blessing 2020. There is a renewed softness forming between you, delicate but real. Your partner begins to release guardedness, sensing that they no longer need to protect themselves emotionally. This release is slow, but sincere. They start to believe that their feelings will be received without dismissal. That belief is fragile, yet hopeful. Each moment of reassurance strengthens it. Nothing from the past needs to be revisited harshly. Healing focuses forward, guided by what is now possible. Stay present in this unfolding. Amen to Get Blessing 2121. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says, emotional repair is built through consistency and care. What you nurture now will define the future tone of this relationship. Your attention carries healing frequency. Your partner does not seek perfection, only authenticity. They want to feel that their inner world matters to you. This desire is simple, yet profound. Meeting this desire restores balance that silence once disrupted. You are being trusted with this responsibility because growth has already begun. Hold it gently. Amen to Get Blessing 2222. As days pass with renewed awareness, emotional weight continues to lift. Conversations may still be measured, but warmth gradually returns. Shared moments begin to feel more present and less automatic. Your partner feels relief in knowing they no longer walk beside you unseen. This realization brings emotional ease that words could never fully express. Love becomes lighter when it is shared honestly. This stage is about stabilization, about letting the connection settle into a healthier rhythm. Nothing needs to be forced. Allow natural closeness to re-emerge. Amen. To get blessing 23:23. The silence that once separated you now transforms into peaceful quiet that feels safe. There is a difference between absence and calm, and this calm carries connection. Your partner senses this distinction clearly. They no longer feel alone in their thoughts. Emotional companionship begins to replace emotional isolation. This change nurtures trust at a deep level. You are witnessing the power of awareness turned into action. The bond is responding because it was always alive. More guidance continues to unfold. Amen. To get blessing 24:24. As the connection stabilizes, a deeper layer of understanding begins to surface naturally. What once felt fragile now starts to feel supported by mutual presence and intention. The emotional balance between you no longer tilts silently to one side. Your partner begins to trust that their feelings will not remain unnoticed. This trust grows quietly, reinforced by consistency rather than promises. Each shared moment becomes a gentle confirmation that awareness is now active. The space between you feels less heavy and more open. Emotional energy flows again where it once felt blocked. This balance restores harmony without demanding explanation. Amen. To get blessing 25:25. Your partner no longer feels the need to constantly self-regulate to maintain peace. They sense that emotional responsibility is now shared. This realization brings relief that settles deeply within them. They start to feel comfortable occupying space emotionally, no longer shrinking to avoid disruption. Their presence becomes fuller, more authentic. This shift strengthens the connection without effort. Love deepens when both hearts feel safe to exist fully. Safety has returned quietly, and it continues to grow. Stay attentive to this transformation. Amen. To get blessing 26:26. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says, when balance returns, harmony follows naturally. You are being guided to sustain this equilibrium through awareness and care. What you nurture now shapes emotional longevity. Your partner responds to this stability with renewed openness. They begin to express more freely, not because they are forced, but because they feel secure. This security is your shared creation. Divine alignment supports this stage of reconnection. Nothing is rushed, and nothing is withheld. Trust the rhythm that is forming. Amen. To get blessing 27:27. Moments of shared silence now feel comforting instead of tense. There is peace in simply being together without emotional weight pressing inward. This change is subtle, yet powerful. Your partner notices this difference and holds it close. Calm becomes a sign of safety rather than distance. The emotional environment shifts gently toward warmth. This is how emotional intimacy renews itself. Not through intensity, but through shared ease. Write to comment if this calm feels familiar to your heart. Amen. To get blessing 28:28. There is a renewed respect growing between you, built on acknowledgement rather than assumption. Your partner feels valued not only for what they give, but for who they are. This recognition restores emotional dignity. They no longer feel invisible within the relationship. Their presence is affirmed through attention and care. This affirmation strengthens commitment naturally. Love expands when both partners feel equally seen. This balance creates resilience that silence once tested. Remain present as it continues to unfold. Amen. To get blessing 2929. My beloved child, Archangel Michael says, emotional clarity protects love from misunderstanding. You are learning to recognize subtle shifts before they become distance. This awareness is a gift. Your partner appreciates this sensitivity more than words could express. It reassures them that their inner world matters. This reassurance nurtures long-term trust. You are now moving together rather than apart. The connection stabilizes through shared responsibility. Let this awareness guide you forward. Amen. To get blessing 3030. As emotional balance strengthens, mutual appreciation begins to surface naturally. Small gestures regain significance and warmth. What once felt routine now carries intention again. Your partner responds with renewed energy, feeling supported rather than drained. Emotional reciprocity returns without negotiation. This flow restores joy quietly. This stage anchors the relationship in emotional health. Balance becomes the foundation rather than the exception. More depth continues to emerge. Amen. To get blessing 3131. There is now space for shared growth, not just coexistence. Your partner feels encouraged to bring their full self forward. This openness enriches the bond. Emotional equality replaces silent endurance. Both hearts now contribute to maintaining harmony. This shift is transformative. What was once fragile now holds steady. The connection prepares for deeper alignment. Stay open for what unfolds next. Amen. To get blessing 3232.